Time for a little knife school on the Apostle P channel. Tonight we're going to talk about how I sharpen a Sebenza. Doesn't mean it's the best way to sharpen a Sebenza. Doesn't mean it's the only way to sharpen a Sebenza. But it seems to work for me. And I've had a lot of questions about how I do it because there are some difficulties. Stick with me, guys, and I'll show you how. Hi gang, Rob here. It's the evening of 26 May 2014, Monday evening, Memorial Day. And today we did lift up in prayer all the families of our fallen servicemen to let them know and let the Lord know that we appreciate their service and their sacrifice. And if you are a family member or a loved one of a service member for the United States of America who gave his life in defending this great nation, our prayers are with you. Our recognition is spirited, and we thank you for the service of your loved one and for their ultimate sacrifice. Now, onto the subject of tonight's video. A lot of guys out there who own the Chris Reeve Sebenza or similar rather high hollow ground knife, meaning a knife that has a hollow grind that comes very close to the spine. I covered this up with tape already, but the shoulder for this hollow grind runs right here along the top of my thumb, leaving a very small flat. So if you're using an Edgepro, guys, it's pretty hard for me to even feel where that flat is, much less maintain a balance on it while sharpening the Sebenza. That doesn't look like a very stable datum, does it? All you wicked edge guys are cheering and going, yeah, yeah, I told you the Edgepro was junk. Well, it doesn't mean the Edgepro is junk. It just means the Sebenza is a little hard to fixture. Gee, guys, do you ever have any difficulty fixturing any knives on the wicked edge? I think you do. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about either. But let's talk about how we can take this knife, which requires being held by the human hand in a fixed position on this really sort of tenuous surface. How do I do it? Well, I don't use the flat at all. What's that you say, Rob? I don't use the flat. I don't use this flat. And since I don't have a flat grind, I have a hollow grind, I can't use the main grind, can I? Wait a minute. Yes, I can. If you guys watch my Edgepro tutorial number 3, you will see a fairly detailed set of instructions on how to locate a full flat ground knife or even a saber ground knife with a small flat on the Edgepro using the main bevel or the main grind of the knife. We're going to do the same thing on this hollow ground knife, believe it or not. We're just going to use a fixed point in the hollow grind. Now, I can't really flip this knife over, or can't flip the Edgepro over to show you, but the front of my table is running right dead across sort of the lowest point in that hollow grind. I just find that by adjusting my clamp, and then I measure my angle just like I did with the flat ground knife. And what I'm going to be measuring, let me grab a Swiss Army knife for a pointer. This is the Ranger, my bench knife of late. Got a serrated main blade, nice little pen blade I use for trimming tape on my knives, and cool little blade. Where I'm going to be measuring this angle from is the shoulder to the cutting edge. So I'm going to sort of pick you up and walk around a little bit and show you how I do that again. Try not to be too jerky as I'm doing this. So I'm going to take my high dollar analog angle finder. I'm going to lay it down alongside my clamp. I'm going to find my angle of my table, which is about 30.5 degrees. Now I'm going to lay my Sebenza on the table, and I'm going to get to this thumb stud difficulty as we talk about this, but for now it's not going to matter a whole lot. Lay that on the blade, measuring from that shoulder to the edge, and I've got 20.5 degrees. So 30.5 is my table angle. When I measure from shoulder to cutting edge on my knife, it's 20.5. 30.5 minus 20.5 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that is the per side angle correction I need to make. 5 degrees. So if I'm going to sharpen this knife at a 16 degree secondary bevel, I would take 31 angle of the table minus 30.5 minus 16 is 14.5 minus 5 for my correction equals 9.5. So I'm really looking for 21 degrees, 16 plus 5, right? So I'm going to get relatively close to that here on my standard. 21 degrees, I'm going to guess based on the thickness of this stone. This is pretty close to where I'm going to need to be. Now we'll set up the knife. Grab the angle finder. See how close to 9.5 degrees we are. Well, that was a pretty good guess, guys. It's about nailed it, actually. I kind of develop a feel for this over the years. So as I sharpen from there, I'll be setting a 16 degree per side secondary bevel or back bevel or whatever you'd like to call that. I'm going to move you back to the original location. But that's how you do it. Now, something to be careful of. You definitely want to make sure that when you locate your knife on the table, and if you're coming in from the right, well, the left for you right-handers, you can use the thumb stud for a stop just fine. You want it. There's a couple things to pay attention to, though. You want to set your knife up if you can, and the Sebenza does work this way, so that where the belly of the knife starts to swing to the tip, it's over the corner. So I can make, even if I need to make 2 passes to get my whole blade, as I do with a knife this long, I don't have to reposition the knife this way to get the tip. You get a little more consistent bevel angle if you do not have to reposition the knife between the root pass and the tip pass. It also, I think, especially on a knife like a Sebenza that thickens at the tip, it's a good idea if you can leave the tip as far this way as possible. Because if you do a little quick math, you'll know that my angle out here is shallower, more acute than my angle here, because this point is closer to my pivot than this point. And that'll minimize that broadening effect of the bevel at the tip of a Sebenza. Now, locating the knife laterally on the off side from the thumb stud, that is a bit of a problem, isn't it? This is a left-handed knife, so this is going to look backwards to you righties. But as I flip over with the handle to the left side, which would be the right side for you righties, what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball this thumb stud to the side of my Edgepro. I'm going to come right over the top of it with my eye. I'm going to set that sucker up, and I'm going to orient my blade this way, just like I did on the other side, with the belly barely hanging over the corner, so I don't have to reposition the knife from root stroke to tip stroke. And I'm going to maintain this lateral orientation with this index finger. I'm going to grab the knife firmly, as close to the hilt as I can. I'm going to set my blade exactly where I need it to be, and I'm going to lock this index finger knuckle right against the side of the Edgepro. Then I'm going to set my point at the corner over here, and I'm ready to sharpen. Now, every time you switch sides, you're going to have to reset up that way, but once you get a little practice, you will be good enough to get repeatability. I've gotten great results on the last 10 or 12 Sebenzas I've sharpened by doing it this way. And guys, don't even try this. Don't try to balance on this flat. You can press down, and you get out here, and a little pressure from the stone, look what's happening. It's just not going to work. You don't even want to try it. You will mess up a $400 knife, and you don't want to do that. I've tried, I think, to illustrate this as best I can in a video. It's not actually a real easy one to make. I hope it made sense to you guys. If you have any questions, or you need me to do this differently so you can understand better, please weigh in the comments or send me a PM. That's all for tonight, guys. Again, happy Memorial Day, and especially to those with loved ones who have served and lost their lives in defense of this great country. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word is sharp.